We're on. Good morning, everyone. How are we? Welcome TikTok, welcome Facebook, welcome YouTube. Hope you are all good. I'm a bit later this morning, actually, than I wanted to be. Just one of them things, to be honest with you. We've been to the gym. Time's just run away with me. I had a few errands to do and a few bits and pieces, but we're here now. I'm only going to be on for about 45 minutes because, why am I only going to be on 45 minutes? Because I'm just a bit late, to be honest with you. And I need to get stuck into check-ins. Not done any check-ins this morning yet. Now, luckily for me, it's not manic check-in day. Now, not manic. I've just counted. I've currently got 41 check-ins sat to do, and that is not manic check-in day. So still a busy one. I'll have them done by the end of the afternoon. But I'll be getting head first in. Anyway, there we go. How are we? It's Friday, the 19th of September. Hopefully for the majority of us, we are towards the end of the working week. There is a little bit of freedom on the horizon for a couple of days, and I'm having a weekend off this weekend. We're out tomorrow with some friends for about 12 p.m. So I'll be off to the gym in the morning, teaching my spin class. By the time I get home from the spin, it will be 20 past 10:30. I've then got to walk the dogs, and we're getting the bus tomorrow. We're on bus W's tomorrow, me and Rachel, to where we're going. So I've got to walk the dogs and then get showered, changed, get ready for going out. Drop the dogs off at my mum's because we're out for the day. So, yeah, no work for me tomorrow. So anyone that is on plan and you're checking in, if you do check in tomorrow, it's probably going to be Monday before I do your check-in. The only thing I am possibly going to try and do tomorrow is write my newsletter. So I bring a newsletter out every Sunday. It just has little snippets of information in there, little links for what's been going on the previous week. And it also has the live timetable for the week that's coming up. So always worth subscribing to the newsletter, TikTok profile, Facebook page, YouTube page, Instagram. Get on my link tree, scan down a little bit, it'll say subscribe to the newsletter. So I send that out every Sunday. And normally I write it on a Sunday. It only takes me 20 minutes off and I would sort of write it and set it all up. But this week, I think I might pre-write it. I might do it tomorrow and just schedule it to go out. And then Sunday, I can just have a complete day off because I was stupidly busy last week with work. I've took my foot off the gas a smidge this week. Foot is going to be full throttle next week. All right. Well, not next week, for the next, it'll be 10 days. It'll be 10 days from Monday and then we go on holiday. So, yeah, 10 days before going on holiday. Work. Lots of hours, lots of time. So I'm having a bit of a chill this weekend, ready to get my head into the game, as it were. That is the plan. Anyway, so this morning we got up, we've been to the gym. We tend to now go to the gym. We sort of dabbled with gym times. Rachel works from home on a Friday. So we sort of we were going lunchtime, but then Rachel with work, sometimes she's like, I can't make it, depending on how busy a day is. And then we started going at 4 o'clock. Well, the gym, so Rachel finishes at 3:30, 4 on a Friday. Well, the gym on a Friday is not the gym on a Friday, but the gym at tea time tends to be pretty damn busy. And I hate training late afternoons. So we sort of get up and go in the morning now. We get up and go in the morning. So we've been to the gym already, ticked it off. How many steps have I done? Not loads, 4,000. 4,000. I didn't do long on the cross trainer. Why? Because the wife forgot her headphones, right? Which is obviously my fault, right? Oh, you didn't remind me. Why would I remind you? You're a grown adult to pick up your own headphones. Basically, we go to the gym separate a little bit during the week because Rachel works in Preston and I work from home. And they're in her gym bag, not in our main gym bag, as it were. Of course, it's my fault. Anyway, so Mr. Valiant here gave up his headphones. So I can't do cardio without music, the gym plays music, which is fine. But I like my own music when I'm doing cardio. I like to lock in and zone out. So I managed 10 minutes. I raw dog 10 minutes on the cross trainer. Lifting weights, I'm all right. I'm all right. I don't genuinely. I can lift weights without headphones. Don't get me wrong. I'd rather have my own tunes on, and I find but just listening to the tunes played in the gym. And actually, they played some bangers this morning in the gym. There's some good tunes on. So there we go. Anyway, you don't need to know the ins and outs of my gymming with no headphones. Anyway, there we go. Anyway, it's going to cost me money. It's going to cost me money because Rachel's got Beats, and she's had him a few years now, like little Beat AirPods, as they were. And they were a Kim Kardashian special edition thing that she wanted. So anyway, she's got them. Anyway, she's tried my AirPod Pros. Now, they're only the second gen AirPod Pros. I say only. They're very good. All right. And she was like, oh, I like these. They're better than what I've got. I want some of these. So I'm like, well, you can have those if I'm allowed to buy the third gen. And she went, oh, good then. Sorry, it's cost me money. So anyway, when's the third gen AirPod Pros out? I don't need to order some. Anyway, there we go. Right, let me do the top 5 on TikTok this morning. Let's see who's in. Mr. John Jackson's in at number 1. Callum's in at number 2. Regan's in at number 3. Mr. Bobby's in at number 4. Good morning. And Vicky is in at number 5. Good morning, guys. You are my top 5. It is Fri-Weigh Weight Loss Live. Why? Because it is check-in day. We've already touched on that. We've got 40-odd check-ins to go to, see how well my clients have done this week on their check-ins. I have got back on the scales this morning. So I normally weigh fortnightly, but I've been weighing weekly because I've got clients that have been weighing weekly. And I wanted to weigh this week anyway, because then the next time I'm going to get on the scales is the day I go on holiday, which is a week on Thursday, so 13 days away, right, from today. So last week I weighed, and I was about 6 pounds up from Benidorm. Today I've weighed, and I'm 1 pound up. So I've lost 6. I think I've lost 5.6 pounds in a week. Is all that fat loss? Absolutely not. But I have been in a decent deficit this week. So I reckon I've dropped. Well, I know I've dropped from the calories I've eaten 2 pounds of body fat. Definitely dropped 2 pounds of body fat in a week. And yeah, I was just holding on to a few pounds still of food and water weight. And that's gone. So I'm 1 pound up. So my mission is, so I went to Benidorm on the 29th of August for my birthday for a few days. And my mission was to be the same weight when we went to Tenerife on the 3rd of October, right, as pre-Benidorm. So basically gain body fat, 5-6 pounds from being on holiday in Benidorm, maybe something like that, and lose that over 4 weeks for the next holiday. So no mega net losses in terms of weight loss, just weight maintenance really, but gaining and losing, little roller coaster. Anyway, the week in Tenerife has escalated to a week in Mexico, and we're going a day earlier, which doesn't make a massive difference. So that's a week on Thursday. So still the same mission, to be the same weight when I'll be getting on the scales Thursday, the 2nd of October. And I shall be weighing myself on that day. And the mission is, and I've got 1 pound to lose. I've got 1 pound to go, and then I will mission complete. If I'm any less than that, superb. If I'm being totally honest with you, if I weigh the same on the 2nd of October as I do today, couldn't give a toss. Well happy. What have I got on from now until going on holiday? Well, tomorrow we are out with some friends. A little bit of a day sesh, right? Little bit of a day sesh. We are at, I was saying we were getting the bus. I don't think we are. I think they're going to come. Our friends are going to come and pick us up. And we're going out around Lytham. So it's very nice, very posh. So we're going out around, well, it's not really, but we're going out around Lytham. So they're picking us up at 12, I think. We're either going to get the 10 to 12 bus, or they're going to pick us up, but they're just shuffling. They've got to drop their kids off with like grandparents, whatever. So we're just sort of seeing what if the times align, as it were. Anyway, so we're going out around Lytham tomorrow. It's going to be a bit boozy, but nothing major. It's not going to be like an absolute smash up. It's just a few nice drinks in the afternoon, right? So it's not a day out, shots and all that. It's not. It's just going to be a few nice beers, good catch up. We've not been out with them like on a little bit of a drinky sesh for a couple of years, probably. So, but it's not going to be a big booze up. So that's tomorrow. So that's going to be quite a calorific day. And then there will be slight tinges of hangover Sunday, nothing major. I'm still aiming to go to the gym on Sunday, but whether that happens or not, I don't know. We will see. If the gym doesn't happen, a long dog walk will happen, depending on the weather. Maybe down to the beach or something like that. But I've banked. I've put all my food in for today. The calories are sorted. We're on it, right? The calories are sorted. As long as I stick to what I've put in my app today, we will have banked 3,000 calories going into the weekend. And I'm going to use those 3,000 calories probably tomorrow, right? There's a good chance. So that'll be a 5,600 calorie day tomorrow. And then my daily average is 2,600, which is what I'm going to have for Sunday. I'm going to go over that on Sunday. How much? I'm going to allow myself 1,000 extra. So I banked 3,000. I'm giving myself 1,000 extra. And I've got 2,600 Saturday, 2,600 Sunday anyway, which is my daily average. So 5,600 tomorrow, 3,600 Sunday. Any less, so if I do 4,500 tomorrow, I'll take that in, and then I will still end up in a calorie deficit at the end of the week, right? Which is all good. And then next weekend, before holiday, we've got a christening on the Sunday. It's Rachel's family, it's Rachel's cousin. Christening. There is like I said, there's a wake after it. No, Neil, that's a funeral, mate. There is a do after it, but it's half an hour away where the christening is. We're driving. Well, we're actually going over and picking Rachel's mum up and a niece and nephew and taking them as well. So I'm going to be designated driver. Rachel won't be drinking either. Rachel doesn't really drink, to be honest with you. So there'll be no major temptation there. Bit of buffet food, you know. So it's all good. So the plan, the September plan, pre-holiday plan, is in full flow and it's all working well. And this is what we have to do on our weight loss journey. You've got to look a little bit ahead. Plan, navigate. You know, if you're going to say, right, let's drive, you know, I live in Blackpool, well, just outside Blackpool. And if I'm like, right, let's go to Newcastle today, I've got to plan the journey, right? Or, you know, if I'm like, let's go to London today, I've got to plan the journey. I'll use Google Maps. Google Maps might be like, oh, the traffic's dead bad here. Right, well, let's go via this way. Let's go via that way. Or we might be like, do you know what? I want to go to London, but I also want to go and see the Cotswolds on the way down. Right, well, we'll go down up to Oxford and stop overnight there. You know, it's your weight loss journey is a journey, and sometimes you've got to navigate it. Most of the time, I live in Blackpool, and my journey will be to Preston. I don't need to navigate that. Jump in the car, off I go, and I'm in Preston. But every now and then, an extra little bit of is required. So, you know, I like to go on holiday feeling the best. It's just a psychological thing. You know, holidays tend to be calorific. I don't track calories on holiday. I let myself go for a week, right? But if I know I've put the work and the effort in a few weeks before I go on holiday, it gives me that freedom. It gives me that little entitlement to go and have a little bit of a blowout, you know, work and reward mentality. So that's the mission at the moment. But I don't want to over restrict myself for the 4 or 5 weeks before going on holiday. It's about finding balance, right? So yeah, I've got a day out tomorrow. Ideally, people are like, oh, I've got this and I've got that on. You just have to navigate through it like I've done this week. It's been flipping tough this week, sticking to less than 2,000 calories a day. For a guy my size, for the amount I move, right, it's not been the easiest. It's not actually been the hardest, but it hasn't been the easiest. There's been a lot of concentration there's been a lot of fighting, the odd hunger pang here and there, but that's part of weight loss. You should be fighting the odd hunger pang here and there, right? But we're there. I've got there. The light at the end of the tunnel is just there. And once I get to Friday, I ain't failing now. So I've done it. I know I'm on it. And I'll just say no today. For, you know, hunger takes over. I've had a good yogurt bowl for my breakfast. I've had my banana, Biscoff. So I put a new recipe up on YouTube. Banana Biscoff and protein custard pudding, I've called it. Right. And it does taste like bananas and custard. Right? It honestly does. It's amazing. Right. But I was talking about this on the live yesterday, the evening live. And I made the recipe, and I've sort of adapted it from a recipe that's in my first recipe book, which is, again, bananas and custard. I think it is Biscoff bananas and custard, something like that. But I've used vanilla protein pudding. Anyway, this time I basically made my own protein pudding using yogurt and whey protein powder, which ramps the protein up because there's 20 grams of protein in a protein, but I want more than that, right? So I've made my own. Anyway, I kind of thought about it yesterday, like, why don't you take out some of the yogurt, to make it more creamy, more custard-like. So I tried that this morning. So the recipe that's on YouTube is 125 grams of Greek yogurt. This morning, I used 95 grams of Greek yogurt and 30 grams of light, soft cheese. Everything else was the same. But also this morning, for the recipe, I just sliced a banana up on top. That's how we always had bananas and custard as a kid, right? You have your custard in the bowl and then sliced banana on top. And I love bananas and custard. It's amazing. It's just a great combination. Anyway, today, I sliced up the banana and I mixed it in. And that little the banana, because one of the bananas I used was pretty damn ripe. Should use ripe bananas for desserts like that. It gave that little banana hint to the custard as well as it was better than the one I made yesterday. I'm not going to lie. So I don't know what to do about the YouTube recipe. I don't know whether to re-record it and do a revision, or do I just put it in the description, or I can actually edit the current YouTube video and tack a bit onto it and do like, guys, since recording this, I've slightly altered the recipe so you can do this and this. I don't know what to do. But anyway, I put it on my Instagram this morning. But it is amazing. I've had it for my breakfast this morning. So good. Honestly, so good. Absolutely delicious. Right, I'm waffling. Let's go through some more good mornings. And then we'll look at YouTube and Facebook as well. Where was I up to? Vicky was number 5, wasn't she? Jill, good morning. Tina, good morning. Helen, good morning. Jem, Sheila, good morning. Tina's checked in for my pre-holiday. Lost on the scales, now getting packed. Amazing, Tina. Have a wonderful holiday. I'll do your thing shortly. What is it? On for a cruise today. Calories don't count. They certainly don't, Vicky. Not until you get home. Faye, good morning. Have an amazing time. Looking well, Neil. Keep up the amazing work. PT Macca, thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say. Out today, then, new AirPods. Picking mine up tomorrow. Callum, right, I'm going to get some. What are they, 220 quid? I mean, I've only had them Gen 2 Pros. I probably had them 6 months. Unbelievable. Absolutely. The quality, the noise cancellation. They are absolutely amazing. And I actually got them for 169 quid. I got them on sale. So the Gen 3s, well, they might sell out instantly. I have no idea. I might not be able to get a pair straight away, but I'm going to get some. I actually want the AirPod Maxes, but I keep thinking, I'm surprised they've not brought an updated. It's like every time I buy something, and it's just me, they always bring an update out. So I've had these, right, which are the Ray-Ban Metas. They might connect now to the microphone. Actually, I think my Bluetooth might be turned off. It might not. And if they connect, the sound might go a little bit weird. So I've got these Ray-Ban Metas. They're absolutely brilliant. I love them. They're really cool for making different bits of content. I've had them, 3 months? And they've brought out a Gen 2. Of course, they've brought out a Gen 2. Or they've just connected up. Has the sound gone weird? The sound might have gone weird on my phone. I'll take them off in a minute anyway. But I'm also like, is there a massive difference between the Gen 1 and the Gen 2? It's like, yeah, it's got a better battery life, always has. I think you're recording 3K, it says, instead of 2K. I'm like, I only ever upload in 1080p anyway, so that doesn't make a difference. But they're absolutely amazing. But I knew as soon as I bought these, there'd be a new version coming out. It don't matter. I'm not gonna go and buy the Gen 2s. Honestly, I'm not. Morning, £2 off today. That's 3 stone off since January. Amazing, Jackie. Chef for how much would you normally gain in weight, not fat, after a weights holiday? It's all very subjective. For me personally, and you know what? This was very, very common, right? When I was from the first time I weighed myself after a holiday properly, which was when I went to Benidorm in 2015 with Rachel, and I was 11 pounds heavier, right? And at that time, I was about 28 stone, right? I'm still the same now. I tend to be about 10, 11 pounds heavier, from holiday when I come back. That's not fat gain. That includes water weight, food weight, water retention, and some fat gain. Tend to be about 10, 11 pounds heavier. The record is Mexico 2017, 2 weeks all inclusive. I was 30 pounds heavier, and I guesstimate 20 pounds of that was body fat. Yeah, I gained a stone and a half in 2 weeks. And if you saw the way I ate and drank on that holiday, you'd understand why. So yeah, I mean, last year I was a bit more on it last year. Let me get my pro. I'll tell you. So last year I was very much because I was new to do my weekly weight loss vlogs, and I was trying to show pre-holiday, post-holiday how quickly we can get rid of weight. I wasn't the best at it last year. I wasn't bad, but I wasn't the best. So let's go for my first holiday last year was a stag do to Poland. Boozy. 3 nights, and I gained 6.2 pounds. So that's the 3 night holiday. I gained 6.6. This is weight gain, not fat gain, right? 6.6 pounds. A week after coming back from Poland, we actually ended up going to New York, right? And in New York, I gained, and we went to New York for 4 nights. We went Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night. We flew back Wednesday. So really, I was up on it up until Friday, and I was straight back to it on the Thursday. So it was 5 days, New York, and I gained 7.2. No, I'm trying to work out the maths. I was minus 20 pounds down from the start of the year when I went, and I was minus 12.8. Yeah, so 7.8 pounds. So I gained 7.8 pounds in New York over 5 days. That's weight gain, not fat gain. A week and a half after coming back from New York, we went to Mexico for a week. We had a very busy month. And a week in Mexico, I gained 8 plus 4.2. So I gained 12.2 pounds from Mexico in a week. So there's a trend here, isn't there? 3 nights away, right? 6 pound gain. 5 nights away, 8 pound gain. 7 nights away, all inclusive. So the longer you're away, the more you're gaining. Yeah. And then the next holiday after that was I went away with some mates to Benidorm to watch the Euros. So we went for 5 nights, very boozy 5 nights, 10.6 plus 2.2, 12.8 pounds. So I actually gained more 5 nights in Benidorm with some mates, self-catering, right, than I did on a week all inclusive to Mexico. But it was very, very, very boozy. Very, very boozy. And then the last holiday of the year was Benidorm, October last year. Now, I gained 5 pounds in a week. Bed and breakfast is what was the board we stayed in. But I didn't gain 5 because I weighed myself on the 4th of the day we went. So we got home on the 11th, but I didn't weigh myself till a week after that. So it was a little bit of a false reading because I'd given myself time to get rid of it. So you go. So that's a history of my weight gain from holidays last year. Should we do this year? Well, right. Let's do this year. So this year, first holiday of the year was, now this year, again, you've got to take this with a pinch of salt because last year, other than the Benidorm holiday, I weighed on the day I went, I weighed on the day I got back or the day after I got back. So I got back on Wednesday, I weighed Thursday morning. For most of them, apart from Benidorm, I weighed. This year, I've not tried to be as scale focused. So I haven't weighed as soon as I've got back. So first holiday year, we went to Egypt, week all inclusive. I weighed on the 6th of March, which was the day we went. We landed on the 13th of March. So technically, I should have weighed on the 14th. I didn't. I weighed a week later. But my weight gain from Egypt was 2.6 pounds. That's a week later. So I've, in that first week, I've obviously lost the week. I've lost some weight. I've lost some weight, right? Second trip was my mate's 50th to Fuengirola. Now, we went on that, we went on the 30th of April. I forgot to weigh. I was meant to weigh on that day, and I didn't weigh. I weighed myself on the 18th of April, right? And then I didn't weigh myself until the 16th. So 2 weeks, I missed that one check-in. So I didn't weigh myself really for 2 weeks after we got back. And I was 0.2 pounds down. I was actually lighter, right? So I don't know what I gained or weighed, lost or gained actually on the holiday. Next holiday was Benidorm. Went with Rach and her niece and her cousin and fella and kids. And I weighed on the day we went, 20th of June. And then we got back. And again, I didn't weigh till a week later. But even weighing a week later, I was 8.1 pounds up. I was 8.1 pounds heavy. That's weighing a week later. And then we've just been to Benidorm for my 45th birthday a few weeks ago. And I weighed the day we went. And then I weighed a week after we got back. And I gained 6.6 pounds. So there you go. But I've weighed myself today. I've not actually logged it. Well, I'm a pound up. I'm a pound up today. I'll log it now. What's the date today? 19. I've actually got the date in, so I was meant to log it. So I'm currently 1 pound up from Benidorm. So there you go. So but that's relative to me. That's not relative to anyone else. You know. Would you go full steam ahead on holiday, or do any restriction? Basically, this is how I describe me on holiday. I'm not Neil now, right? When I'm at home and I'm on it, yeah, that I'm not Neil now, but I'm not 37 stone Neil either. So I wouldn't say I go full steam ahead. I don't go back to being 37 stone Neil, but I give myself a lot more freedom than what I do now. I don't, in all honesty, really think about it. What I try not to do on holiday is be overly greedy. So when I went to Mexico in 2017, I gained 20 pounds and I was greedy, right? I'd go for a breakfast and I'd be having 3 or 4 visits to the buffet at breakfast, right? And then we'd be by the pool in the afternoon and I'd be like, right, let's go for lunch. And Rach was like, we had breakfast 2 hours ago and you ate loads. Like, she's not fat shaming me. She's just like, you can't be hungry. And I'd be like, but the food was so amazing in the hotel. And I've said this before in 2017. We went to Mexico for the very first time in 2016 and we absolutely loved it. And we went because Rachel got made redundant and then got another job the same day. So she literally got a redundancy payout and got a job the same day. So it was just like, let's go to Mexico with the money or part of the money. So, but then when we got home from Mexico, we loved it that much. We went back and we just booked it again, but we didn't have that pot of money. And we were like, it's a year away. It's fine. We'll just pay a deposit. We've got a year. We'll save up for it. We were going in the May. It got to January. I'd not paid it. We'd not paid anything off it. Right? We'd not paid anything off it. The holiday was like just under 4,000 quid. So it was literally like, we need to save up 4 grand because you've got to pay for it 12 weeks before you go. So we had a bit of savings and stuff like that, but we basically had to whack half of it on a credit card and then script and scrape to pay it off before we went. So I said to Rachel, I'm not having that sat on a credit card while we go. That'll just pee me off. So we paid it off. And I think because we basically got above our means and it was such a, like we had to be so tight just to pay for it. I was like, I'm getting my 4 grand's worth out of it. So yeah, I wasn't hungry. I was eating. I was ordering two or three dishes at a time. We were getting in at night time and the hotel had free room service. So every night when we were getting in, like we'd go for tea at 7, finish tea at 8ish, go to the bar, have a couple of drinks, maybe go to the entertainment bar and have a bit of a dance and whatever. And then getting in the room at 10 and I'm ordering burger, chips and brownie every night. So I did go raj on that holiday. What I try to do now on holiday is, I enjoy myself. I don't count calories, but I try and find a bit of balance. I don't, if I'm not hungry, I won't eat, right? If I am hungry, I'll eat. I won't eat for the sake of eating. Likewise, I'll have a bag of Lay's on the balcony, but, I'll try not, I want to sit there and polish a bag of Lay's, 150 gram bag of Lay's on the balcony. I'll have a few. And I'll try and gauge what would be maybe 1 or 2 bags of multi-pack crisps. So one big bag of Lay's might last for 3 days, whereas 37 stone Neil, it'd last, I'd be going through 2 a day. Does that kind of make sense? My biggest intake of calories really from holiday generally is booze. I love a booze up on holiday. I'm not going to lie. I'm not, other than when we went to my mate's 50th in Fuengirola, I've not had a hangover on holiday. I just like steady boozing, right? A few nice drinks, I'll start at 11 a.m. and I'll just steady, an hour, maybe ramp it up a little bit in the afternoon, all day. Well happy doing that. Love it. Don't want to get drunk, tipsy, topping up throughout the day. But you're taking on a lot of volume, aren't you? And that's where I sort of do my calories in, if that makes sense. Well done, boss. That's what you're going. Thanks, Fri-Weigh. Right, let me scan up, see if I missed anything. Any tips on how you stay motivated? You don't. That's one thing that people struggle with when it comes to weight loss. It's thinking you have to be motivated 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You won't be. It doesn't work like that. You're not motivated. You're not motivated. Motivation doesn't work like that, right? I've had success on my journey, not because I've been motivated 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because when my motivation dips, I've never given up. I've been determined. So the days where I couldn't be arsed tracking my calories, I've tracked them. The days where I couldn't be arsed cooking, I've cooked. The days where I couldn't be arsed getting those steps in, I've got the steps in. The days where I couldn't be asked going to the gym, I went to the gym. Yeah. So we have to be, we have to understand that. Now, motivation shouldn't disappear for months and months on end or weeks on end, right? Just the odd day here and there. So if you've not had any motivation for 3 weeks, you've got to look at the approach you're taking, the plan you're taking. You've got to look at your mental health. You've got to look at a few bits and pieces. But you can't stay motivated. And what people do is we end up with what's called a honeymoon period of weight loss. And it's generally when we start a weight loss journey. So very common this in January. We've had an overindulgent week or 2 or month for some people, right? New Year's resolution, gonna lose weight. Everyone's on the same path. Everyone's everyone's joined a gym. Everyone's eating healthier. No one's going out because everyone's skin. Everyone's hibernating. Makes weight loss much simpler. Motivation's through the roof. It can be -6, but you're going out getting your steps in. It's 6. The alarm goes off at 6 in the morning, but you get up and you go to the gym and all this, that, and the other. The motivation to do that in January, it ain't going to be there 100% in February. It's certainly going to wane a little bit getting into March. But where the success of the journey comes in is when your alarm goes off at 6 a.m., do you roll back over or do you get out of bed? Right? When you look out the window in March and it's raining, or you've had quite a long day at work and you're a bit tired, but you get home, you put your trainers on, you put your coat on, you go and get your steps in. Right? That is where success is built. Any one person in this life, right, has not been successful. Any one person that's been successful has not been successful because they were motivated every single day to build a business over 10 years. Right? They were motivated to study at university every single day, right, to get their degree. Motivation just doesn't work like that. Now, like I say, motivation should not disappear for weeks on end. And if you're using a healthy, sustainable weight loss method, right, and what you're getting out in terms of results is worth what you're putting in, then you'll be all good. But so many people, even though they're using a healthy, sustainable, they just expect it to just coast. Everyone's searching for this weight loss method where, I've started doing this and it's a piece of piss, right? That's the honest truth. Everyone's looking for that method. There isn't one. There isn't one at all, right? People think they find it when they start a new plan. People thought they found it when they were doing, it's easy this, stick this in, not hungry, losing weight. Over time, suppression starts to wane. You increase the dose. As you increase the dose, the side effects get worse. Next thing, you're on 10 milligram and you're nauseous and you've got bad headaches and you've not been able to go to the toilet and for 5 days, and you just like got this rock sat in your lower intestine, right? In your bowel. And there's no quick fix. There's no easy thing to say, but a weight loss journey is built around doing what we need to do more often when we don't want to do it. Right? There's been many a time where I don't want to do the things I do, but I've done it because the journey is so important to me. And if the journey is so important to you, and you combine that with a healthy, sustainable weight loss method, and you also combine that with working on your overall mental health, because obesity or weight is a mental health disorder, you'll be good. You'll do it. You'll get there. You'll have that determination, right? So, tips on how to stay motivated. Like I say, for motivation to be there a reasonable amount of time, healthy, sustainable weight loss method. Don't go to extremes, right? Don't go at this journey like a bull in a china shop. Have some patience. Appreciate that there's no such thing, or understand there's no such thing as a perfect weight loss journey. That will help with motivation, but there is absolutely no physical way you can be permanently motivated. And the loss and success of this journey can be based massively on that very first day. You're 6 weeks into your journey, and that very first day where you go, I cannot be arsed today with weight loss. What do you do? Do you go back to your old habits, or do you push through? And even though you can't be bothered, you do what you need to do. There'll be loads of days where you don't want to go to work, but you go because you've got an outside pressure. You have to go to work. There's no outside pressures really with weight loss. It's down to you, right? It's down to your own grit and determination. And you're always going to need that. And I'll never sugarcoat that. Yeah. By the way, Leanne, good morning on YouTube. ACAC, when you started going to the gym at the beginning of your weight loss journey, how many times a week did you used to go? Two, occasionally 3, between 2 and 3, depending on what was going on. And I did that for about 3 months, right? And then I left the YMCA in Kirkham and I joined Ribby Hall Village. And when I joined Ribby Hall Village, I went 3, sometimes 4. Why did I up it? Because the facilities were miles better and it was expensive. And I'm like, if I'm paying, at the time, I think it was like 48 quid a month. It's now nearly 70. But at the time, it was like 48, 50 quid a month. And I'm like, if I'm paying 48, 50 quid a month for a gym membership, I'm going to use it. Yeah. I'm £4 away from my mini target for my holiday to Portugal. I have 4 weeks feeling on track. Leanne, you can smash that. You're doing great. Lisa, so I've had an okay week in Ibiza. Don't think I've gone too mad. Need to get back on track Sunday. Yeah, I mean, Lee, it's one of them, right? I always say this. You can fully enjoy holidays, but the important thing about fully enjoying a holiday is creating a cut-off and a restart day, right? So your cut-off day is the day you go on holiday. So the day you're traveling to the airport, or driving to your campsite, or driving to your Airbnb, whether you're doing a staycation or you're going abroad, that's your cut-off date. I'm not tracking on that day, right? So for me, will be the 2nd of October. 5 a.m. in the morning, I'm leaving this house to drive to Manchester Airport, and not a single thing will be tracked. Now, we get home on Friday, the 10th of October. We fly on the 9th, but because it's Mexico, 6-hour time difference added on. So you fly at 4 p.m. in the afternoon on the Thursday, and you land in the UK at 7 a.m. the next day. So you gain 6 hours going, you'll lose 6 hours coming home, right? When's my restart date? It's going to be Monday, right? If I get back from holiday on a Wednesday, like I did from Benidorm, I'll start tracking again Thursday. There's over half the week left, so I'll get back at it. Getting back on Friday, I very rarely track travel day home, and I'm still going to class the Friday as travel day home, even though we land at 7 a.m. in the morning. I'm going to be knackered. There's going to be no shopping in. We're probably going to jump on something. There's probably going to be a Mackey's breakfast on the way home. We'll probably go to bed. I'm then going to work in the afternoon doing some check-ins. So I will be working Saturday as well because I'm not spinning. Doing some check-ins. there'll probably be a takeaway at night time. So I'm not going to start Friday. And Saturday, Sundays, I'm just not that consistent anyway. And actually on the Saturday, I'm out at a friend's daughter's 18th. They're having a house party. Friend's daughter's 18th, but adults are, they've used it as an excuse to invite their friends as well. So going there only for a couple of hours. It won't be, I'll be jet lagged a bit and I'll be tired, but I'm going to go. I'm going to have a few drinks. So I'm going to get back to it on the Monday, right? That's my restart day. And I don't mind waiting until the Monday because I am on it. My next event is the 22nd, 23rd of November when I'm going out with some mates for the day, right? We're having our pre-Christmas day out. We normally do it mid-December, but for whatever reason, December's always quite hard, especially with my friends that have got kids because, they book to go and see Santa with the kids on Saturdays and stuff like that. So we're going to have a last day out. We're doing it in November. That'll be it. And it's about 5.5 weeks or something like that. I think it's got 5 full weeks and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I won't be drinking. I'll be teetotal. So I don't mind leaving it till the Monday. And my mission then is to lose my Mexico weight by that day out with my mates. Right? Yeah, I'm giving myself nearly 6 weeks. You're like, you get rid of it. Yeah, but I'll gain a bit in Mexico. I might do, I might not, but we'll see. But I'll give myself 6 weeks. And then if I do that, after that, I just want to maintain then until Christmas. I'm good. So Lee, it's I don't know when you're home. If you fly home today, I'd start, or you fly home tomorrow, Monday. Monday's a new weight loss week. It's just me personally. Someone might go, no, as soon as you're back, you start. Right? So it all depends for me when the weeks fall. But yeah, I'd be back at it Monday, Especially with the way I look at weight loss, right? Because I do, Monday's a new weight loss week. Weekend is Saturday, Sunday. I like to bank calories Monday to Friday. I know I have check-in days a Friday. Check-in day being a Friday is not the start and end of a week. It's not like or anything like that. Why do I get my clients checking on a Friday is Fridays are just a good random day to get a very accurate weight, right? I would actually love check-in day to be Tuesday. I do not want my busiest day of work to be a Monday or a Friday, right? I would love it to be a Tuesday, right? Monday's admin day, get into it. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I'm happy to graft my bottom off. But I don't have check-in days as Tuesdays. I have it as Fridays because it's better for my clients for accuracy on the scales because we always tend to eat a few more calories at the weekend. So on Monday, we're carrying a bit more food weight, a bit more water weight, a bit more water retention, right? So that is going to give you an inaccurate, while that's floating about in your system, that is going to give you a more inaccurate result. Friday, we've been on track, and we are more on track Monday to Friday, right? When routine goes a little bit out the window, Saturday, Sunday, we've got some flexibility there, some extra flexibility, freedom there. And that's how I gauge people. That's how I get people to look at their calories. They get more calories when they need them. We have less calories when we're more in a routine. And then by the time you get to a Friday, any water weight, extra water weight, food weight, water retention that might have bumped up from the weekend is gone. Right, so that's why I get clients, but it's not the end of a week. It doesn't. You shouldn't have your diary starting on a Saturday, or I mean, if you want to, it's up to you. Do what you want. You say it's just a random day that's good for weighing. That's it. Monday's a new weight loss week. It's a new week. It's a new weight loss week. We look at our calories Monday to Sunday. And the only way that would sway is if you are maybe possibly a shift worker or you work permanent weekends. So you might be like, you might work in the pub trade. Weekends, golden hours. So, your Saturday, Sunday might be Monday, Tuesday, right? Therefore, your weighing day will be Sunday. Does that kind of make sense? Stephen, hi there. I commented on a live of the week about waking up on a night after 2 hours sleep and eating. Your advice was there could be something else wrong as to why you're not sleeping. Though I got some bloods done and they come back with very low testosterone, which doctor seems confident that's the problem. So I've been referred to get it sorted out. Thanks, Stephen. Not a problem whatsoever. So, yeah, Stephen, I remember the question actually. Stephen come on and said, I'm waking up in the middle of the night and eating, right? And he might have asked something like, what should I be eating? Or how do I stop feeling hungry? And I'm like, No, what you need to address is why you're waking up in the middle of the night. I've had this recently with another client where she's come on board and she said her sleep patterns aren't very good. And that just leaves her overtired the next day. And the answer is the same thing. Why aren't we sleeping? That's what we need to address. Sleep is so important on a weight loss journey. And generally, if we're not sleeping, there's an underlying issue. It could just be a mental health issue in terms of anxiety, overthinking. It could be a case of poor diet, not enough movement, not enough exercise. There's lots of different, just poor sleep patterns in general, poor lifestyle in general. Or you could have an issue with Stephen there where he's got very low testosterone. That is very common in males. I have no idea how old Stephen is, but it's very common. And when our testosterone is low, our sex hormones low as a male, it has lots of knock-on effects. Lack of energy. Now, you might be like, well, lack of energy, surely that means he's tired more often. Yeah, but probably like 2 PM when you don't want to be tired, right? But also low testosterone, then lack of energy is lack of motivation. It also massively helps. Like mental health, cortisol levels, hormone imbalances, right? So Stephen, from having low testosterone, that could decrease his serotonin hormone, which is his happy hormone, increase his cortisol hormone, and that in turn could then increase, Stephen could be suffering with anxiety, depression, all sorts of different bits and pieces. His head's racing all the time. He might have certain issues around low testosterone and he's overthinking it. Is it me? Is it my problem? Is it, what's going on with, is it, it can increase stress in the body. All these things can affect our sleep pattern, right? So, Stephen, I'm really glad. And TRT in America has been massive for a lot of years. Now, and that's because everything's private in America. So physicians are more than happy to keep flipping prescribing stuff, right? Left, right, and center because people pay for it. And that's why you see so many jacked, like American men that are like in their 50s and 60s. And yeah, they go to the gym. Yeah, they train. You don't end up with that physique just because you're taking testosterone. But they're probably getting prescribed a little bit more than they should be because they're private and they'll pay their doctor for it, right? And they walk around like absolute 10 men, right? And it's because they're on TRT. And in America, even if you've not got low testosterone, you can get TRT, right? Which is testosterone replacement therapy. And basically, they look at what the average testosterone levels of an 18-year-old male are, and that's through the roof. And we'll just match it, even if you've not got that low testosterone. Now, in the UK, it's a little bit different. So testosterone ratings, normally, if you're rating, I don't actually know what classes as high testosterone, but I know for your testosterone to be classed as low, which could be causing you issues like low libido, mental health issues, lack of energy, lack of self-confidence, and all this, that, and the other. I think it's less than 3. Right? Something like that. A decent level for like a lad in his early 20s is like 25. I think. Don't quote me on that. My last blood test. So I've always had low obesity. Being fat suppresses testosterone levels. Right? It does. It suppresses testosterone and can increase estrogen production, which is the female sex hormone. So I've grown up morbidly obese. I was late hitting puberty, and that was down to my obesity, to the point where it was discussed to be given medication to bring puberty on, because I hit puberty at about 15, right? But, a lot of lads, when I say hit puberty at 15, that's when my voice broke, right? So a lot of lads hit puberty at like 11, 12, and it takes a couple of years, 2-3 years for it to sort out. So I hit puberty quite late. I had no hair on my body, right? Because my estrogen levels were high and my testosterone levels were low. Couldn't grow a beard, right? I could grow wispy bits of hair. Cat could lick it off, right? Couldn't grow a beard. I could only start growing a beard in 2015. But from weight loss, it balanced my hormones out more. So decreased my estrogen production, increase my testosterone production. And the last blood test I had that I paid for, my testosterone was at 21, which for a male in his mid 40s is I'm more than happy with that. Yeah, I'm more than happy with that. But it is something I keep an eye on. Would I have TRT if it? I'll be honest with you. I'd do TRT if it dropped below 15. If my testosterone ever dropped below 15, I'd do TRT. Right? You can go to Newman, you can push for it. You can push for it. You don't just have to get it. I pay for it private, right? I will pay for it privately. Right? I wouldn't, the NHS wouldn't prescribe it because you've got to be really low. Right. And at 15, it probably wouldn't cause me any major issues. But yeah, I'd pay for it. So Stephen, I hope just getting diagnosed and understanding there is just a bit of an issue and it's not just down to you should hopefully make you feel better anyway, mate. And I hope you get it sorted out sooner rather than later. Obviously, you can go to like Newman, which are like a private company that can prescribe TRT. Yeah, or your doctor might. Don't get the patches. They do prescribe patches. Try not to put. I don't know why. I just don't feel that's the most beneficial. I've had clients before with low TRT that have been prescribed like patches, and it's meant to soak in the testosterone, the hormone soaks in. I think you want tablet form, really, tablet or injection if you can. That's just my thing. Yeah. My testosterone is 17.8. Is that about right? I have no idea. Callum, I would say that's pretty low for your age, right? It's not ridiculously low where it'll cause you any major issues, but it is low. But it will improve. Obviously, you've been overweight. You've lost a lot of weight this year, right? It will improve. And if you want to improve, if you want to ramp it up, get to the gym. There's things we can do naturally. Lifting weights, increasing muscle mass, bumps our testosterone up, right? It does. There's little things you can do naturally. Never, if you're someone where your testosterone is stupidly low, right? There's not a lot, going to the gym and lifting weights and eating certain foods that are known to increase natural testosterone production isn't going to be enough. But if your testosterone is low but isn't terrible, like I say, mine's 21. So and I'm mine's 21, Callum, and I'm 25 years older than you. So yours should be higher than mine. But I do a lot of things that help with it, But yours isn't low enough to cause you any major issues, and it certainly isn't low enough for the doctors to go, oh, right, we need to. But if you ever feel like your energy levels might be low, your motivation might be consistently low, it might be something to look at. It might be something you want to go and discuss with your doctor just to see, because I'm not trying to say I'm an expert on it. I'm genuinely not. I just know sort of the numbers. And like I say, I know mine's not as good as someone your age, and I know your age should be higher than mine. So maybe the doctors might be like, oh, maybe there's different age boundaries. Well, there is different, but I don't know what that is. For me, that number doesn't sound the worst in the world, but a doctor might be like, at your age. So I don't know. So maybe it's something I can look into. Maybe something worth looking into just to get it ruled out. Just in case you do feel like, if your mental health's not the best and you're struggling to work on it and it's struggling to improve, your anxiety might be quite bad. Like I say, motivation might be quite low. You've got a reasonably good diet, you've got a reasonable amount of movement, but your energy levels are quite low. These are all things that can be related to it, if that makes sense. The doctor has advised a weight loss jab to a family member. I'm so worried. It's so wrong. It's not wrong. It's not wrong at all. Look, at the end of the day, it is a medication. But, you've got to, are there cons to a medication, right? And when I mean con, like, are there pluses and minuses? Pluses and minuses to anything. But what people need to do is they need to look at the pluses. And if the pluses outweigh the minuses, then the medication is good. And for a lot of people, right, the pluses outweigh the minuses. If you're currently 13, 14 stone, a couple of stone overweight, right, and you know your diet's not the best, you know your movement's not the best, and you're looking for the answer in Manjaro, I think you're looking down a rabbit hole that you shouldn't be looking down. If you're currently 25 stone, 20 stone, 25 stone, and you've got quite a severe food addiction, and whatever you've tried, you can't break that circle, then it's a good option. I've always said this about your weight loss injections. If used by the right people in the right way, right, they're a great option, and they could be an absolute cure. Because if you can use Manjaro to break the circle, the catch-22, I overeat because I'm unhappy because I overeat. If you can use it just to change one of those things as a starting point. But the issue where people are going to fall flat on their face with these weight loss injections is they're using it as the cure, or they think it's a cure, rather than using it as a tool to help them change their life. If you're using a weight loss injection, you should be using it as a tool to change your overall life. And as you're using it as a tool to change your overall life, eventually you will get to the point where you don't need or want to be on it anymore. I'm at that with a few clients now. I've got a few clients that have come to me, and they've not said it's down to financial reasons. They've not said it's down to side effect reasons. They've literally come and said, I want to come off it now. I feel I'm at a point where I don't need it. And that's because while using it, they've put things into place where they can manage their weight, whether that's managing weight loss, weight maintenance, naturally, right? Where a lot of people are going to fall flat on their faces, they're just jabbing themselves, which is massively reducing their food intake, but what they are eating is still junk food. What their movement is on a day-to-day basis is sedentary. What they're not doing is working on mental health triggers to overeating, right? If they're just literally using the suppression to lose the weight and not check, they're still eating cornflakes, but instead of finishing the bowl, not cornflakes, Frosties, still having Frosties for breakfast, right? But instead of smashing in a massive bowl of them, they're eating half the bowl and then the full, right? And this is relative to you. If you're currently using Manjaro and your diet is exactly the same now as it was 6 months ago, right? But you're just eating less of it because of the medication, you are not going to have long-term success on that meds. Because when you come off it, and you will come off it, because either you'll come off it because you want to or need to, or eventually you'll just get to maximum dose and it won't work anymore because you'll have built up an intolerance to it, right? You're just going to gain that weight back, right? So it's not so wrong at all. And what is your feeling it's so wrong? It's a type 2 diabetic medication. It's just a hormone, right? All weight loss injections is they mimic your GLP-1 hormone, right? And that basically gets your brain to talk to your pancreas to release insulin to bring blood sugars down, right? That's it, right? That's it. But one of the side effects of the GLP-1 medication is it slows down gastric emptying. And by slowing down gastric emptying, it means food sits in your stomach for longer, keeps you fuller for longer, you require less food, right? Now, is the data around long-term side effects out there? No, because it's too short-term. But it's been through clinical trials. And at the end of the day, do you know what the long-term side effects of being fat are? They're going to be a lot worse than taking Manjaro, right? Now, that might not be the case if you're taking it when you're 12 stone, 13 stone. But if you're 20, 25 stone, that will be the case, right? So, there's pros and cons to anything. But if your family member has been advised by a GP, right, that either means they're pre-diabetic, type 2 diabetic, or their BMI is over 40, right? And if any of those things is going on in the body, then the pros of using Manjaro outweigh the cons. So don't be worried about it. It's not so wrong at all. Right. I've got to go. I have got to go. Guys, there's been lots of comments. I've been a lot of waffling this morning. I'm sorry if I've missed anything. But that is me. That is me. Yeah, that is me until Monday. Yeah, I won't be on tomorrow, guys. I know I've done a couple of little weekend lives recently. Rachel is, unless for whatever reason Rachel wakes up in the morning and goes, I don't want to go to the gym, which could potentially, because we're going out, she's already whinging that she's only going to have an hour and a half to get ready. Right, here's me. I'm like Superman getting ready for a day out. I literally can walk into a phone box and I'm in my uniform. I'm ready to go. So I can literally, from walking in the house to walking out the house, all pampered and preened and ready to go 10 minutes. Rachel's whinging about having an hour and a half. So unless she wakes up in the morning and goes, nah, I need longer than an hour and a half, I'm just going to stay in, have a little bit of a lie in, and then have a nice bath and pamper. There won't be a live in the morning. If Rachel does end up not coming to the gym in the morning, I will drop you, anyone's on plan in the community, I'll drop a broadcast to say I'm going live. But if not, I will see you Monday morning. So have a wonderful weekend. Yeah, I will. I'll see you Monday morning. If not tomorrow, definitely Monday morning, 8:30 a.m. Brand new weight loss week. Oh, Facebook, YouTube.